"I'm the boss of you," Douglas sternly informed his younger brother William. William glared back at him. "You are not the boss of me." The two boys were surrounded by dozens of superhero action figures. The game they were playing wasn't going to Douglas's liking, so, as the older of the two, he pulled rank. "I am Batman, and Batman is always the boss of Robin." Douglas used a more conciliatory tone this time, hoping to sway William. "Nuh-uh. Batman isn't always the boss of Robin, and you're not the boss of me." William avoided looking at Douglas this time and continued to play with an action figure that was clearly the center of the argument. Douglas suddenly became enraged. He was having none of it. He snatched the action figure from William's hand and screamed at him, "I am Batman, and if you want to play with me, you have to do what I say." William's eyes welled with tears, his face a reflection of just how bad his feelings had been hurt. He mumbled back at Douglas, "I don't want to be Robin anymore." William left the room to find his mother and to tell on Douglas. And Batman sat alone on the playroom floor, the boss of no one. Bad Bosses. Robert Hogan, researcher and author of Personality and the Fate of Organizations, found that 75% of the workforce feel that their bosses are the most stressful part of their jobs. His research also indicates that there are far more bad bosses than good ones. When you consider Hogan's conclusions and the fact that virtually every worker has a supervisor, it is highly probable that you have worked for at least one horrible boss, and this experience has left an emotional scar. If you want to experience the emotional impact of bad bosses, just ask someone to tell you about the worst boss they ever had. As soon as they begin describing their bad boss, deep emotions will emerge in the form of facial expressions, body language, and tone of voice. All evidence of the profound emotional scars left by incompetent, demanding, and hurtful leaders. In the process of researching this book, we asked this question hundreds of times. We quickly discovered that few people forget bad bosses. When asked about a bad boss, the visceral emotional reaction is almost always instantaneous. People become angry, resentment oozes from every pore, and the desire to get even is palpable. Some of the stories are truly shocking, some are sad. Most, however, follow a common theme. Bad bosses are oblivious to the fact that leading people requires humility, savvy, authenticity, and keen interpersonal skills. They attempt to lead people as Douglas attempted to lead William, with the autocratic, "I am the boss of you, therefore you must do what I say." When that doesn't work, and it almost never does, bad bosses resort to manipulation, screaming, micromanagement, intimidation, fear, and even pouting to get what they want. Through these tactics, they hurt people, destroy company cultures, and ultimately tear down organizations as the most talented people often just walk away. The high cost of poor leadership. Most leaders have heard the saying, "People don't leave companies, they leave managers." During our research for People Follow You, our interviewees quoted this saying to us time and again. Even though the saying has become a cliche, it is the brutal truth. A quick search of the internet reveals hundreds of articles on the subject. Countless studies and surveys of the workplace provide empirical evidence that how employees feel about their manager is a better predictor of long-term retention, satisfaction, and performance than any other factor. Far too many people leave jobs and companies that they love because they hate their leader, and story after story about bad bosses, the ending was inevitable. So I left my job and went somewhere else. Shelley explained to us why she left a great job selling online advertising for a top website and well-known brand. "I really like my job," she said. "The company was a great place to work. I liked the people I work with, and because the company was so well known, it was easy to get my foot in the door with new prospects. Over the years, I had built a great client base, and I got a lot of referrals and repeat business. In 6 years with the company, I had never, not once, not ever missed a quota, not once. When I finally quit, I was 140% of my number for the year. I really hated to leave, but when my old boss was promoted, they brought in this guy who was the worst sales manager I ever had. Even though I was hitting all my numbers, this guy micromanaged everything. He carried the policy book around with him and beat us up on all kinds of nonsense. My final straw was when he set me down to have a conversation about my talk time. I was his #1 sales rep for the quarter, and yet he warned me that my average talk time was not meeting company standards. That was it for me. I resigned 2 weeks later. What an idiot.